Hello students, welcome to PHP and MySQL session. As you all know, we went long with respect to our online classes in our earlier month. We studied the first chapter. What is that? HTML related stuff. This is what the first chapter what we studied. Here in this HTML, we gone with all the basic elements and introduction regarding HTML tags and their attributes and different tags like paragraph, heading tag, and line breaks. Some other elements like horizontal rule list, how we are formatting the text and different color codes, font, and as well as links, hyperlinks, and then something related to email, images, image, link, and finally form tag and different elements of form tag, then followed by table and frames. This is what we studied with respect to our first chapter. As we discussed earlier in our earlier video classes, what we undergone through Zoom as well as video recordings. We gone with many these HTML related stuff. So we know what exactly HTML mean and what exactly internet and what do you mean by World Wide Web and the difference between web and internet. These kind of basic stuff we undergone and we studied. Later, we studied different tags as we discussed earlier. So, apart from this, as we planned, we need to go with chapter 1, that is what this HTML, and we need to go with chapter 6 with respect to this online teaching. Because chapter 1 HTML and chapter 6, this is what related to SQL. You people studied chapter 1 concepts in 4th semester, that is what our IP, and chapter 6 concepts in our 3rd semester, that is what SQL related stuff. So that's why actually I chosen chapter 1 and 6 for online classes. Later, when the offline proceedings will start, we can able to go with remaining actual PHP stuff. Before that, so we need to go with chapter 6 revision here. So in chapter 6, what we discussed? We discussed regarding database. Then the designing process, how actually we are designing the database, and what are the factors we need to consider while designing the good database. So then what are the problems with respect to bad database? Okay, such kind of stuff we discussed. So later we start with SQL commands. Okay, so what do you mean by SQL? What are the different commands? Then what some importance of good database design. Of course, we discussed importance of good database design, how the good database design is applicable with respect to performance of the application. Okay, later we discussed the concept like some database languages, that is nothing but data definition language, data manipulation language, then something related to transaction management. Okay, these are the things what we discussed. So here in the data definition language, we discussed regarding creation of a table, then updating the columns of table. I mean to say column rename, such kind of stuff. Then followed by dropping of table. Okay, so these are the things what we discussed with respect to data definition language. So In a data manipulation language, what we discussed? We discussed some data manipulation commands, something like insertion, then followed by updation, deletion. These are what we discussed with respect to DML. Then with respect to transaction management, we studied some commands with respect to transaction management. Apart from this, what we studied, let's have a look at our syllabus copy here. Then we discussed normalization. Probably you people aware of the normalization. What exactly the normalization mean? Okay, normalization. What do you mean by normalization? It is nothing but a standard. It is nothing but a standard used to follow during database design. Okay, why we need to follow such kind of standards? Because of performance of the application, then efficiency of the application. So these are the key factors what we need to consider with respect to designing of database. So here in normalization, we undergone a different stuff. I mean to say different kind of normalization. That is, one is first normalization, second normalization, third normalization. The idea behind this normalization is, as we studied earlier, we need to reduce columns. We can't able to put all our columns in a single table. Okay, if you put all our columns in a single table, that results in flat table, which affects the performance. Okay, so that's why what we are doing with respect to normalization, we are reducing the columns. We are splitting the columns into different tables. Then we are establishing the relationship among such tables through primary key and foreign key. So after reducing the columns, we are splitting the tables. Of course, in order to reduce the columns in a table, what we need to do? We need to split tables, a single table into multiple table with a good relationship. So later, what we studied dependency kind of stuff. So in a table, we have suppose 3 columns, column 1, 2, 3. This is what the primary key. Remaining column 2 and 3 should be depending upon primary key column. This is what the stuff what we need to call dependency. So here some independent columns are divided, and we make separate tables for such columns. So this is what with respect to normalization we studied. So after that, after normalization, we studied data types in MySQL. Of course, we gone with many data types with respect to MySQL. You people all know the columns what we are going to use in a table which is associated with a specific data type. So that data type define rules and constraints regarding what kind of data we need to store with respect to that column, where we impose data types. Okay, so we gone with different data types with respect to MySQL. Of course, we are dealing our SQL here with respect to MySQL tool. So with respect to that, we gone with many data types. So later we studied table creation and the syntax of table creation command. Got it? So as you all know, the create command followed by the column names and followed by the constraints, which one is primary key, which one is foreign key, which one is unique key, such kind of constraints we need to supply during table creation. So once we done with our table creation, we studied inserting the data into the table, created table. Okay, so throw insert command. So insert into table name followed by list of values. So this is what we learned with respect to insert command. Later, after table creation and after table insertion, we need to select, I mean to say we need to retrieve or access the data from the database. So this work is achieved through select command, select star from table, or select different columns separated by comma from table, followed by condition, conditional retrieving. We are using where class, select from and where we are using for the sake of our conditional retrieving of data. Okay, later what we studied, we can able to what select data from different tables. That is what selecting from multiple tables. Later we studied update. Update nothing but edit. Update followed by table name, then followed by set keyword, column name, and we need to supply the value for that what column. This is what the thing update, and update is with respect to condition, then we need to go with where, or else we are not going to what specify any kind of condition, then all rows are going to be updated. Okay, this is what the thing with respect to update. So later we gone with replace command as well as delete commands. Okay, so once we done with all these operations, we started see some string functions. Some string functions what we are frequently using with respect to MySQL. So this is where we stopped our online classes or earlier online classes, first chapter as well as sixth chapter. Later, from our next class, we need to go with date and time functions in MySQL. This is what the remaining topic what we have with respect to MySQL. So we need to study date and time functions in MySQL, and later we need to wind up this chapter 6. Then we need to go for what remaining stuff, I mean to say the actual PHP syllabus what we have. Getting? So I hope what this 20 to 25 days gap of what absence of online classes what you gone through. It is an effort in this video. We are what making the concepts refreshment. I hope you people are refreshed with respect to what the concepts in chapter 1 and chapter 6. So from next class onwards we need to go with what remaining concepts in chapter 6. Hope you all what comfortable with respect to video classes. So we need to continue same kind of what operation, mode of operation up to the college starts, because what apart from what waiting for something needs to be happen, we need to start something. That is what our college is doing what during this what the COVID crisis, and hopefully we continue same kind of work in our what upcoming days. Thank you all. Happy learning.